I'm an addict. My name's Al.
Hi, Al.
How many people have experience on an area regional committee? Area regional committee. It's late. Area literature committee. How about a regional literature committee? Okay. How many people are here because they want to find out more about how to get involved in literature? How many people don't know why they're here? Why are we here? Before coming to fellowship, just a little bit of personal experience. My first involvement with literature was that a few of us had caught wind that there was a book that was being written for Narcotics Anonymous, and that the fellowship needed input. And at the time we had a Sunday night step meeting in Humeville, Pennsylvania, where we took the AA 12 and 12, and wherever it said alcohol, we replaced that with drugs, and that's what we used for our step meeting. And which was I guess perfectly kosher at the time, but we've come a little ways since then, I guess. So what we did was we took our AA 12 and 12s and we sat down and we would read the step, and then what we would do was share some personal experience on it. And we had a tape recorder, and we tape recorded it and then dictated it and transcribed it. We used that to send to the literature committee. My second experience with literature was I was at the first East Coast Convention, and someone got up at the podium Sunday morning after the meeting was over, and he said, if you want to get high on recovery, go to a convention. He said, if you want to OD on recovery, go to a literature conference. And there happens to be one out in Warren, Ohio this next weekend, and being the addict that I am, that sounded real good to me. So I went in, told him I wasn't going to be in work for the next week, and went out to Warren, Ohio, and I didn't really know what was going on there. But I believe that it was that week out in Warren, Ohio, where my recovery really began. I was clean up to that point. I was abstinent up to that point. But I believe that that's where my recovery began, and that was the Fifth World Literature Conference during the writing of the basic text. And I've been in love with this fellowship ever since that week. Sometimes the women that have come and gone out of my life since then have difficulty understanding or accepting, or both, about my love for this fellowship. And I guess sometimes that tends to cause problems in other areas, unmanageability in other areas of my life, but I guess that's okay. And I've been pretty much involved in literature ever since then, ever since that time. Area Literature Committee, Regional Literature Committee, World Literature Committee, and Jane sharing her personal experience with sitting in on literature work. There's been meetings that I've gone to where I've really felt that feeling of being part of, that kind of like just penetrates your whole being. But I've never really gotten that as much as I have through sitting down with a bunch of addicts and tearing up a piece of literature for a weekend, or a couple hours, or an afternoon, or a day or two, or however long it takes. And most of the basic text was written in a state of coffee psychosis. People that have been up for 3-4 days in a row, 2-3 hours of sleep a night, and gallons and gallons, innumerable gallons of coffee, and but like other people have shared, it came out just right. It came out just the way it was supposed to. Like David, when I pick it up, I mean, it's about me. There's no question about it. There's no question about it. It doesn't lie. It's all about me. I'm really looking forward to, getting in and tearing up It Works How and Why a little bit more. We've already done that. We've already kind of, in more ways than one, I imagine, over the past few years, gotten in and torn up It Works How and Why. Sometimes we tore it up spiritually, other times we tore it up not so spiritually. It's kind of like recovery. Sometimes we do things spiritually, sometimes we do things not so spiritually. But nonetheless, I'm really looking forward to getting into that. And I'm presently a member of the World Literature Committee, and a lot of the work that we've done in the past 2 years has been like a lot of administrative kind of stuff, and I mean, that's not really where it's at for me personally. It's like that. I kind of find that a little bit, I find that a little bit dull, boring. Like, all right, like let's get on with it. I personally like getting in and tearing stuff up. That cut and paste, and even though we're not supposed to do that anymore, I think, or whatever, but that sitting down and that sharing of personal experience, and that beginning to look at things that I thought I knew something about and looking at it a totally different way, just by sharing experience, strength, and hope with other members. And and it goes like, sometimes in the fellowship I've learned that sometimes the people that teach me the most about my own principles are the people that I don't agree with. I shouldn't say my own principles. The ones that teach me the most about our principles, or my belief about our principles. Because I think there's a lot of different sets of beliefs about our principles. Sometimes the people that teach me the most are the people that I disagree with. Because in order to disagree with them, and here, I think this is a way that God uses our disease to help us sometimes. And in order to disagree with them, I really have to think about what it is that I believe. It really makes me dig deep down inside and take that inventory and check out where I'm at. And I've really found that a lot in literature work. And there's something special that happens when a bunch of addicts sit down, and sometimes you may spend a half an hour arguing about one sentence, one concept. Sometimes you may come back to the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. But there's a special bond. There's something real special that happens, and I would definitely recommend it for anyone. One of the most special things that I guess has happened to me was in Bucks County, where I'm from, Bucks County, Pennsylvania. We started traveling around and going to a lot of conventions and stuff like that, and lit conferences, and just traveling through NA as a whole. And what we came to learn was that in our area there was a lot of young people as compared to other places, and we saw a need, and we began to do some work on the Youth in Recovery pamphlet, which is on our tables today. And we began to do some writing on the Youth in Recovery pamphlet. And a couple years ago I was at a convention in Florida, and I was just sitting spending some time with an old friend that I hadn't seen in a long time, and she opened up her purse and she had a pamphlet that was in German. And I had no idea what it said on the front cover. But she's, I asked her, I said, what pamphlet is that? And she said, it's the Youth in Recovery pamphlet. And, it just really, it just really struck like a real special warm feeling inside, because I remember sitting down and I remember doing the original works on that pamphlet, and to think that addicts, halfway around the world are reading that pamphlet and maybe getting something out of it, was a real special feeling to me. And I still read the basic text today and look at different things in there and look at some of the things that we argued the most about. And like I said, it all, in the end, it all comes out right. It all comes out according to the loving God, and people were talking about the surrender process and surrendering and letting go, and it's sort of like the group starter kit and some other things, but those of you who have spent some time with your Conference Agenda reports, you'll see some special notes in the Conference Agenda report about the group starter kit. But anyway, if you're just thinking about getting involved in literature, give yourself a break and check it out. Just go to an area workshop and tear it up and come together, and I'm sure it'll become a special piece of your recovery, like it has to almost everyone I know that's ever been involved in literature. And it's a real special area of service. Thanks.
Thanks for sharing, Alan. We love you.